guys, Sharon Restrepo here, back with you for another real estate steals, deals, and opportunities. And today we're going to talk briefly about short sales. And I'm going to teach you some short sale secrets that we apply in our short sale business as buyers of short sales ourselves, investors, and for agents as a broker myself, taking a short sale listing and trying to get that done, as well as the seller of a property that you want to short sale because you owe more than the property is worth. So let's start with this common question. Why do some short sales get to closing and others don't? So let's discuss a few short sale secrets that can help you get your over leveraged property sold, whether it's your listing or you're buying it or you're selling it. So first of all, to explain a short sale briefly, I think they've been out long enough now for everybody to kind of have an idea of what a short sale is. But they're done when lien amounts exceed property values. In other words, the property's underwater is what you'll commonly hear. So let's say the property's only worth $100,000, but all the liens put together, the mortgages, etc., owe a balance of $200,000. And quite often, it's just one mortgage on the property, and that one mortgage has now accumulated to owe a balance of $200,000, but the home is only worth $100,000. So the property's over leveraged compared to its value. It is underwater. Each lien is reduced through negotiations based on factors regarding the property that enable each lien holder to reduce their lien amount and therefore allow the property to be sold for its actual value, even though it's less than what is owed. So with short sale negotiations, these lien holders will reduce the amount that's owed so that the seller can get the house sold to the buyer that wants to buy it. So the factors for accomplishing a short sale and being able to apply for one include the following. So physical aspects of the home. In other words, the property's in disrepair. There's a reason why it won't sell at a retail price. And sometimes it's very outdated. It might not even be in disrepair, but it's outdated. And, buyers have to look at that and say, well, if I want to buy this house and then update it myself to bring it up to the retail value of every other home, then I'm only willing to pay X. All right, so the other factor would include the appraisal. So in other words, deals are falling through at $200,000 because the property is only appraising for $150,000. So the appraised value is not allowing the home to be sold to buyers that need to get a loan based on an appraisal. Also, the borrower's inability to pay those liens. Oftentimes, short sales are common because people fall behind in the mortgage, and even the accumulation of arrearages, late fees, attorney's fees, that can add up. And because of that, it increases the amount owed to the lien holder, and the value is not there to support that new amount. So that is one reason. The other reason is, the people paid a lot for the home, values have dropped, and now the home is no longer worth what they owe. Short sales can be done on current mortgages. So the factor that only mortgages in arrear can be short saled is not true. Any mortgage can be short saled so long as you're proving the value is not there any longer to sell the home for what is owed. All right, so economic factors in the area. Sometimes you'll have a factory go out of business and it supported the entire city with jobs. And now the values have plummeted. No one's paying their mortgages. No one can keep up the condition of their home. And you're going to have an entire economic factor. And, then they kind of add up, if you will. So any or all of the above factors are common factors that help you take a short sale negotiation to your lien holder. All right, so here's some of the factors that hinder short sales and get people to think, I don't even want to do a short sale. I stopped doing short sales as an agent. I don't want to consider it as a seller. It seemed like a lot of work and it fell through in the end. So here's some common factors that hinder short sales. Even retail buyers don't want to look at short sales anymore. So let's look at how we can tackle these with some of our short sale secrets. So the seller's lack of paperwork. Oftentimes, the seller's got so much paperwork to go find and turn in, and they're busy, and they have excuses, and they can't find it. And so all of the paperwork doesn't get pulled together for the bank to look at the short sale. No follow-up with the parties, especially the lenders. So if someone who's handling the short sale is not following up constantly, the short sale file is going to fall through the cracks and the property is going to go to foreclosure before you can accomplish the short sale. Problems at the bank. So in other words, lien holder issues. So it's common that there's a lack of staff. Hey, we don't have enough staff. That's why, hey, your short sale's in my pile, but I got to get to it when I can because there's other people that are going to foreclosure auction before you that are also trying to get a short sale done, and they're a priority. I'll get to your file when I get to your file. The other issue that happens within the banks is they sell off your note. So right in the middle of your short sale, you're expecting an approval letter any minute, and they sell off the note or the lien, if you will, to another lender. And you almost have to start completely over with a new lender. And that gap of time could take weeks or months before a new negotiator is assigned to this file, and you've just lost all this time. Well, undoubtedly, you're going to lose your buyer because they're looking to move. So it happens a lot that you would lose the buyer. So no buyer. The buyers are in and excited, but it takes so long that they get tired of waiting. And so you can lose the buyer. So these are some of the common factors that hinder short sales, give them such a negative taste in people's mouths that they start walking away from them. So now I want to talk to you about how to overcome those hurdles with some of our do's and don'ts. And these are the secrets that can help you now get excited about working with short sales again. So first of all, you want to list the property with a real estate agent in the MLS because the banks want to see, you have to prove to them that the property has been shown to the public, and out of everyone who's seen it, these are the only offers, or this is the only offer that has come to the table with the public knowing about it, okay? So the banks do want to see that there's not just in one newspaper ad, one sign in the yard, and here's the one buyer. They want to know that this is really the best offer that's come to the table. So list with that real estate agent. Some of these banks have criteria that they don't even want you to submit an offer until the property's been listed to the public for a certain amount of days. It could be 5 days, 7 days, 2 weeks. They all have their own criteria. All right, so you want to find out what that criteria is so you can get all those things done before you work with the bank. One thing I want to mention here that's not a bullet point, but I'm reminded of it from our last slide. You get a buyer for the short sale, you want to submit everything, but your seller has yet to provide you all of the documentation that's required. So my advice to you, any agent working on a short sale, is you do not even list the property until you have all of the package from the seller. You'll be wasting your time even showing the home because you can't get a short sale submitted. Even if you have a ready, willing, and able buyer ready to go, the short sale package will be incomplete. So make that one of the criteria in your listing agreement that you will go live in MLS once all of the seller's documents are put together and turned into you, okay? Price the property accordingly, right? No one wants to pay retail and wait for a short sale to close unless they're absolutely in love with the property. So, for example, it's a regular home in a regular neighborhood and it looks just the same as all the others. It's not even in disrepair. Everybody's selling their home for $200,000. It's very unlikely that your short sale listing will get a $200,000 offer simply because buyers will, hey, I can buy the one next door for $200,000 and I don't need a short sale, we'll just close. So yours will be the last to sell because no one wants to wait that long when they can buy a similar home at the same price and close now. All right, so it's just short sales have gotten too much of a negative press because of all the things we've discussed. So you want to drop that price at least by 20%. It's very common that banks will accept 80% of the as-is appraisal. And in retail, that's a 20% discount for a buyer. Now that might make it worthwhile for them to wait. And it's much more likely that a home will sell and actually get approved at 80% of the current as-is value. All right, so that's where your pricing is going to help you bring buyers to the table, multiple buyers, and then you can go with the best buyer who's willing to wait the longest. Maybe even a cash buyer comes to the table because they want the house for themselves and they feel that this discount's worthwhile. So price the property correctly. Don't price it so low that everybody inundates you with offers that are never going to get accepted unless the home is destroyed. And don't list it retail or it's never going to get an offer, because no one wants to pay the same price for your house as someone else's they could get now, okay? So definitely, I highly advise you to work with a short sale negotiator. So if you're an agent, don't try to take on the work of a short sale yourself. Assign it to a negotiator. This is all that they do. They have the relationships. You say, hey, this is with ABC Bank, and they go, oh, great, I've got a contact there. Let me reach out to them now. They already know, oh, ABC Bank will take this much of the value. ABC Bank will do this. ABC Bank really wants this. So a negotiator is going to know these things, and your deal is going to flow much better with the negotiator, besides the fact that they are the expert in that. They're going to be focused on your file. They only get paid if your file closes, just like you. But where you wear your hat is going out and getting another listing, or now servicing that listing like you should, bringing the buyers to the table, putting the contracts together, and that way your negotiator can follow up with everybody and do all the follow-up that's required, because they don't want to work for free, just like you. So give them the file, train your buyer, let your buyer know right in the listing that a short sale fee of X is going to be required of them, so they put it right in their offer. And that way you know it's already paid for, the buyer knows in advance, and everybody's happy they're going to get paid when this closes. Obtain all of the ammunition available to encourage every lien holder to negotiate. So in other words, if the home has disrepair that would cause a buyer to pay less, prove it. Get pictures, get a contractor's estimate for it, get an appraisal that you can turn in now, not wait till you get an approval letter. Turn in those things now that show the bank, here's why the buyer's offered this amount of money. Please send us this approval right now. So that will shorten the length of time it is taking you to get your deals done. And then, of course, whoever's assigned to this deal, follow up, follow up, follow up. And follow up is key to getting your letter and keeping your deal at the top of the file on whoever's desk has the authority over it, you know? So once the reduced lien amount is approved, the approval letter will be issued to the negotiator and the terms will be outlined. So in other words, you've gone through all of this, you offered $80,000 on a $120,000 lien, and the bank says, yes, you've done a great job proving yourself to me. We're going to give you an approval letter for this $80,000. Now, in this letter, we're going to tell you that these are the closing costs we're willing to pay, and here's how much they're going to be, and here's the commission we're going to pay. So they might say, although you guys sent me an agreement that calls for these fees to be paid at this price, we're only approving it at this price. So if they do that, someone, buyer, seller, agent, might have to pay a difference there. Agents might have to agree to reduce their commission. And the banks might even agree to pay the negotiator's fee if it's requested, but many times they won't. That's why it's more important for you to have that already set up at the beginning of the deal, not at the end when it can fall apart. So the approval letter will also say, here's the consequences to the seller. We might pursue them for a 1099. We might go after them for a deficiency judgment, or the seller's scot-free. We're not going to go after him for anything. You know, it's going to outline all those things. And it's also going to say you have 30 days to close, or 45, or whatever it is, but here's your drop dead date. Make sure the closing is done by this date. Now, you can always ask for an extension. You better have a really good reason, and you might get it the first time, but probably not the second. And some banks are going to say, you know what, you've been in foreclosure so long, you filed bankruptcy on me 80 times. This is it. If you don't close by this date, we're done. We're taking you to foreclosure sale. So every situation is a little bit different depending on the history of that loan. Okay, and so that's what that looks like, and that's how that works. So you want to have your ducks in a row and ready to go. So lastly, popular seller question: can a seller receive funds at closing on a short sale? The answer is yes and no. So it depends on the short sale program that they're going through at the bank and other varying factors. So there are different types of short sale programs that some allow the seller to leave with just a little bit of money or $1,000 or moving money. And there's other programs that say, we're going to do this outside of a program, and the seller can walk away with nothing. Okay, so check with the lien holders at first. Okay, now your negotiators who already have relationships at these banks and understand how the banks work, they will already have every single bank's package, if you will, and it will have a checklist of what the seller needs to turn in. So don't reinvent the wheel. have a negotiator you're already working with and call them up at first sign of the listing and say, hey, Betty negotiator, I'm about to go list Bob and Sally's short sale and their lien is with XYZ Bank. Can you send me over the package and the checklist of things I will need for them for XYZ Bank? And you go armed with what Betty has already done, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to do anything extra. And you go over there, you're organized, you're ready, and you say, look, here's everything I need you to put together for Betty. As soon as you get that done, we'll get your property marketed. In the meantime, sign my listing agreement. It says that we won't go live until this package is turned in so that we don't have any roadblocks and headaches, and I don't work for free, which you say under your breath. And so that's what you're going to do. And also, you want to check with these lien holders at first submission. And so what your negotiator will do when they send in the very first submission of the short sale, they're going to send in a preliminary closing statement showing funds coming to the seller. And then they'll know right off the bat if the bank's going to say, hey, not in this program, or yes with this program, because you're requesting it right up front. So don't wait till the end of the deal to ask if the sellers can leave with any money. Okay? So sometimes, you know, it's a tough situation because the sellers really are in distress. I know this as a buyer. I call, you know, I talk to a lot of sellers that they have nothing to leave with. The only reason they haven't moved out of the home is because they don't have money to move with. So I have often purchased their appliances or their lawn equipment or things like that allow me to legally not give them sale proceeds, because in a short sale situation, if they're not allowed to leave with any money, all the parties are signing a paper for the bank that says they're not receiving any sale proceeds. And so they can't receive sale proceeds on the sale of their home because they're prohibited. But nothing prohibits me from buying any of the furniture that I want to buy from them to leave behind, the window treatments, things that are not considered attached. Pool equipment, lawn equipment, the shed they could take with them, things like that. And that way I can enable the seller to actually get moved out of the home like he needs to do, and there's no aid for him to do that. So many times the banks recognize this and they will allow the seller to leave with that money, and it will come to them as sale proceeds. But again, like I said, in a lot of programs, they are not allowed to leave with anything. So that's something that a seller in real distress is going to ask you at the very beginning, because they're concerned, how am I going to move out without any money? And you're going to have a way to address that. So right off the bat, your negotiator should know the programs that are available to your seller, or to you as a seller. And sellers, if you're underwater, you go to a website called HUD.gov, and right on the home page you will see help phone numbers for government agencies that can explain to you your rights in certain programs and your eligibility in certain programs for short sales. They are not the one who's going to do your short sale, but they're the ones who can hold your bank to the program that's been created for your assistance in your short sale. So that's where you'll find out about that. And agents, you can of course go there as well and learn a little more about it. So that kind of wraps it up with the time that I have to share with you today. So I hope that you learned a lot about short sales. If you'd like to purchase investment property in the South Florida area, I look forward to hearing from you. You can email me or go to my website at 32 West Realty and become one of our clients. And so if you enjoyed what you learned about short sales today, then learn more about real estate investing and other amazing topics online via live interactive video conference classes at learnfromgreen.com. Increase your knowledge and increase your income. Thanks for tuning in today.